Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new movie Poor Things, and this movie mainly starred Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Rami Youssef, and a bunch of other great actors as well, but really the story really follows Emma Stone and her character known as Bella Baxter. Now I'm a little bit late to jumping on the bandwagon with this one. Honestly, I forgot Poor Things was even out. It was on my IMDb list of things to watch, and I just didn't even realize it was already released, so I'm a little late with this review, but nonetheless, this movie does not disappoint. So Emma Stone's character, Bella Baxter, ends up experiencing, ends up going through something, which is not really a huge spoiler what I'll talk about, but something happens where she ends up dying, and so her body ends up in the presence of Willem Dafoe's character, and he's known as Dr. Godwin Baxter, and he's sort of like this mad scientist type figure who has figured out a way to basically reanimate somebody and actually bring somebody back from the dead. And so that is essentially what happens. He ends up getting Bella's body, and he ends up reanimating her and ends up actually bringing her back to life. And so this movie is sort of like a Frankenstein, but it's also a lot more colorful, a lot more vibrant, and really this movie is almost like a satire, or almost like a noir, or really an exploitation of the human soul to some degree, or the human desire and just humanity all within itself. So Dr. Godwin Baxter ends up reanimating Bella, bringing her back to life, and she ends up basically being like this toddler inside of a grown woman. Of course, Emma Stone, she is the actor portraying Bella, so it's kind of like she has to act like a child. And throughout the film, Bella really goes through different variations, different stages, and she really is like seeing the world for the very first time. Even though she was alive before, she really does not have any memories. She doesn't really know anything about her history or her real life or her past. All she knows is that that she is alive now and whatnot, and that was really fun to see her go through these stages, and it was really fun to see Bella sort of be reintroduced to the world. And it was also really cool to see it from the point of, or from the perspective of sort of like a toddler. Because she was like a toddler, she had to sort of learn how to walk, learn how to talk, and then, like I said, there's multiple stages of her development throughout the story. Now, Mark Ruffalo's character, he portrays a character known as Dukan Wedderburn, and he's actually a lawyer, I believe they said he was in the movie, and he basically is very, very rich, and he really falls in love with Bella. But Bella is very blunt, she's very straight to the point, she does not mess around, and she just says it like it is. And that's one thing I found very likable about Bella, especially with Emma Stone's performance. I really thought that she really captured that sort of innocence and rawness of Bella, because Bella is really, she's very organic, but she's also very blunt. But at the same time, she's not a liar, and she's not really out to do anything for self gain. She does not really intentionally want to hurt anybody. She just sort of says things like it is, and which is why I say that this is almost like a Bella herself almost sort of becomes the personification or the literal embodiment of human nature or of human desire, because this movie has a lot of nudity, has a lot of sexual scenes, and a lot to do with sexuality. And from Bella's perspective, because she was reanimated and she's now trying to relearn the world and try to figure out how the world works, she doesn't really see the downside of sort of the whole immorality, that sort of argument between morals and immoral, and Bella really walks this gray line, because she's not really doing anything wrong in the sense that she's not intentionally out hurting people, but at the same time her philosophy sort of is, well, why can't I do this? If it feels good, then maybe we should do it, so to speak. And I just thought that Emma Stone's performance with that was really, really good, and her perspective is actually very, I would say, very honest, and for that matter, even very true, which is why I say it's a very raw, it's a very raw character. And so Mark Ruffalo's character, when he falls in love with Bella, he does everything he can, really he does everything that a good boyfriend or a good husband should do, really, so to speak, for his girlfriend, for Bella. And she just never really, she just emotionally don't have that gravity that he has. He's so in love with her, but she just don't have that feeling because, one, she's too new to the brand new world. She's probably literally physically not developed enough. She's emotionally not developed enough, and she just really, she's not there. She's, like I said, she's a very raw, just a very, not a cold character, but just a very blunt, very straightforward, very honest, very innocent, even to some degree, but still a very raw character. And so, Mark Ruffalo's performance, it was great to see their dynamic on screen together. I thought they did great. And then, of course, you have Rami Youssef, who portrays a character known as Max. And Max is kind of like Dr. Godwin Baxter's, or Godwin's assistant. He's sort of like a scientist as well. So most of his scenes are with Willem Dafoe. And I really liked how they used his character and also how they used Willem's character, because all these actors are huge names, and they're all, grade A actors. They're all award-winning actors, but the way that they used each of these actors, I thought, was very strategic. I also thought the editing to the movie was very strategic as well. How there were a lot of scenes that were black and white. Then there was a lot of scenes that were very colorful, very bright, very vibrant, almost fantasy. Then there were some very science fiction type scenes. But then by the time you get to the third act of the film and you get to the conclusion, so to speak, which I won't ruin for you, I won't spoil the movie, but when you get to the third act, the movie becomes very realistic. It's almost like it steps away from the sci-fi, it goes away from the color and the fantasy, and then becomes a very realistic, a very grounded story. And then where you see Bella end up at the end of the story, it's very, very different than where she was at the beginning, to where she could hardly talk, she could hardly walk, she could really not understand anything about the world, until now, all of a sudden, in the very, at the end of the movie, during the finale and sort of the conclusion, she starts to learn a lot about her past before she died, her real true life before she was reanimated. And then she becomes this very complicated, very complex character, which is, basically polar opposite of what she was at the beginning. But she still has that innocence. She always had that innocence, but now she has a much more. There's a lot more complexity with her at the end, and I really enjoyed seeing that development of the story, but also of Bella's character. And then, of course, we go full circle, and even how they reveal a lot about her past, which really, you don't really learn anything about her past until the very end of the movie. I just thought that it was tied up and told in a really good way, and was concluded in a really good way. And this movie will absolutely make my 2023 top 10. In fact, I have no doubts in my mind that Poor Things will make it to my top 5. I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was very brilliant, the way it was shot, the way it was edited, but the performances and the development of the character Bella, and the development of the story, it was very interesting. It was like Frankenstein sort of meets Alice in Wonderland, or Through the Looking Glass. It's like that sort of meets something like an exploring or some form of adventure type movie. But also it has there's a lot of heart as well that I really was not expecting for this type of movie. I did not expect myself to fall in love with the character of Bella as much as I did, but this was phenomenal. I would say that this is all these characters, probably all their best performances that we've seen, which is saying something for Willem Dafoe. Mark Ruffalo, this is a version of Mark Ruffalo that we have not seen. This is a version of Emma Stone that we have not seen, and they did a phenomenal job. If I had to put a number on Poor Things, honestly, I would probably give this movie either an 85 or 90%, because no movie is perfect, but I think this was pretty close to it. So I would definitely give it 85, or maybe even be generous and give it a 90%. And I really had a lot of fun watching Poor Things. So let me know in the comment section below if you've seen it, and if you liked it, tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button, and if you want to help us grow once again, because I accidentally deleted the channel before, so this is us starting over, like, share, comment, and all that good stuff. Definitely let me know your thoughts, because I love having conversations in the comments and all that good stuff. And that's all I got for you. So until the next video, take care.